Hey guys, it's D Wiley with the HeartHeaded Way podcast remix episode. When I did my first season, one of the lessons learned, or one of the best episodes, I guess I would say, was with my husband Corey. And as a result, I decided that I would play around planning for season two and do a couple of video episodes with him and some other guys that I'll bring into the conversation. And I will entitle those the remix episode. So this is our first take at it, and we're going to have a little candid conversation today, and we're going to see how it goes. Before I do that, I want to tell you guys I participated in this virtual summit. It is a master series on uh, on quickly silencing your inner critic to get out of your own way and confidently go after that big dream you've always wanted and getting it done. It is a masterclass series that is driven by my friend and my strategic coach, Adrienne Adams. It'll be released soon. And so be looking for information on my social media outlets. I'm excited to participate in that and then just to hear all the other speakers. And I think you guys will too. So now down to business. Corey and I, this week, we will be celebrating
Done 15 years, 3
15,
nickels.
15 years of marriage. And one of the things that we wanted to do on camera was take a trip down memory lane and take you guys with us. So I'm going to sit back. Are you ready, babe?
Nope, but let's do it.
All right. So before we get started, to kind of lay the groundwork, Corey and I have both been married before. I actually was recalculating. I've been saying 11 years. It wasn't. I think we were married 9,
Mm.
10 years, somewhere up in there or whatever. And Corey, you were married.
Man, it seemed like forever, but it was 11 months. It was 11 solid months though.
So anyway, so premarital counseling, just a little plug right there. And so I want to jump right in, and I want to start with my first question for you is why get married again?
Um, just growing up wanting to have your own family, be a part of that, being a stepchild and things of that nature. You wanted something that you really felt a part of, and just growing up watching the Hustables and stuff like that, or just seeing my friends with their parents, the Braces or the Halls or whatever, I wanted to have that. So I didn't have any disdain. Like my first marriage, we just didn't have the language to because we both had different love languages, and we didn't have an idea of how to communicate that. So
Okay.
so I accept my flaws in that area. And of course, like you stated, we didn't do premarital counseling. So
Yeah, that's good. I'd say for me, when you and I met, I don't know that I was looking for anything. I had been married for a long time. I was just getting to know myself as a single mom, a single woman, and I was enjoying myself. And so when Corey and I met, I mean, we were friends, like real life, we were homies. I met him when I just lost a best friend, Laquita Avery, rest in peace. And literally the day she passed, I remember he asked me to come over. He got me like a balloon, a rose, and a card. It was really, really sweet. So I wasn't looking for it. So it was a very nice surprise because I mean, my husband is charming. I'll tell anybody that, and then the fact that he is funny doesn't hurt at all either. And so I think I was really surprised. We didn't date long either, y'all. And so we'll probably talk about that later on. We didn't date long. It was a really whirlwind romance for sure. Would you say that? Is that what you would call it?
yeah, but what's so crazy, what you brought up today when we was at lunch with Lil Brody, I had forgotten or not thought about it. When I got married the first time, I was actually supposed to be meeting you.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? We were literally, I was having a birthday party. He and I stayed in the same neighborhood, and someone else that I know invited him to the party. And he was out, child, getting his first marriage, and here
in
I was
Jamaica.
coming out of mine. And so, and you would think that we would have met before that because we attended the same church as well. Did not. It was none of that. It was literally, yeah, almost a year later that we actually met. And it was probably right when you were kind of going through your separation or whatever. So again, we
Mhm.
were friends. He told me what was going on. I wasn't looking for anything. And he was my homie. Like, I think we talked about you going out on dates and all that other stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
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 it was
yeah.
it was fun. We were that was the one thing that when my mom asked me, well, what made you like Corey? I said he made me laugh. I was like, it was a breath of fresh air during that time. And so I think we dated for 6 months. We were married about 8 or 9 months later. Did you say that?
No, we got married in September.
Okay. September is what month of the
You said
year?
8 or 9 months later.
Oh,
After
I'm
that,
sorry. I meant in 8 or 9 months, not 8 or 9 months. My bad.
she went to public school,
So anyway,
math major too. Ain't that something?
so anyway, so I got to tell this story because this is an integral part of our marriage story for me. So I'm not very, or I wasn't in my previous life very personal about anything home life at all. I didn't mix the two in conversation or anything, and so I had gone out of what to like Baltimore for a
Mm-hmm.
conference. I come back. He and Jonathan are waiting on me at the airport, and he proposes to me at the airport. And y'all, that is the sweetest thing. And listen, he's a romantic, 100%, like 100%. Y'all, he proposes, and I have a coworker that's there too who doesn't know that I'm divorced. So she like, wait a minute. So where's this other husband at? Like, is D practicing bigamy? Like, what's happening around here? And so I had to go to work the next day and explain it to everybody. Like, I've been divorced for a little while. I just hadn't said anything. And now my name is about to change. So it was really, 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 really crazy. And so I think, yeah, it was proposal in May and we were married in September. So it was quick. And we did premarital counseling. That was fun. You want to tell them the funny story you said that you told me before we went into premarital counseling?
That's what I said.
You said, I don't know what he gonna bring up, but I want you to know that one of my tired chicks.
Oh man, the struggle was real.
When I tell you that boy had me crying laughing. So it's that kind of stuff. His candor is just absolutely like unbelievable sometimes. And so I legit did not expect to go into counseling and the pastor to tell me that. Do you know that one of his checks bounced a while back for his tithe? So anyway, so we did premarital counseling. And one of the things you forgot about that. I'll never forget it because you told me like the day before we got ready to go. So anyway, because we were talking about is there anything crazy that could pop up.
Right.
So anyway, so we did the premarital counseling, which is I recommend for everybody. But one of the things I think for me is I still wish we had dated, longer,
Mhm.
because I know, and I'll let Corey speak to this, is I realized like right after our marriage, we're having fun still, don't get me wrong, but I realized the level of brokenness that I had. And so I struggled with we because I hadn't resolved the issues with me. And so I didn't even know how to pray for us because I couldn't come out of that emotional deficit that I was carrying around. And so anyway, it was a struggle for me and it lasted some years. And so I would say for you, what made it hard probably for Corey in dealing with his own stuff is that he had to relearn me after 5-6 years of being married. And so here you are dealing with broken Sean, and now Sean gets to a place of peace and wholeness, and everything that I allowed and let go or wasn't tripping over, it looked different to me in that space. Would you agree?
Mhm.
Was it difficult to,
Mhm.
to deal with the old versus new? And
It was two sided. uh, just trying to see what was going on. But and on the flip side, I kind of felt good that I gave you that space to grow and deal with whatever, come out of whatever. So it was twofold.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. And I would say this, moving into the house and blending a family,
yeah,
that was hard, huh?
yeah,
Why
yeah.
was it hard though?
We products of our routine. It's one thing to date somebody, then you come home and you have your space and you doing what you do. So just having to adjust to having somebody in the house and dealing with what what they're used to doing, and then what it didn't always mesh. So it was an adjustment. I used to have everything lined up in my drawers and all kind of stuff.
Yeah, I went in his. I think this was right before we got married. I was at his house and I was looking for ketchup, I think. And when I opened the drawer, he had all of his ketchup packages and everything lined up. And I called my girlfriend. I was like, "This ain't gonna work." I was like, "This is clear not going to work." In fact, right after we got married, she called me. It was like 9:30. I'm not a big phone talker, but she called me about 9:30 to ask me something. She said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm embarrassed to say I'm folding clothes." I was like, "This dude over here, he too neat. I got something gonna have to give because I'm folding clothes at 10 o'clock at night." I hate folding clothes. So anyway, that was a hard challenge because that even bled over into like Jonathan. I could care less about a room. He cared about the room. I cared about the grades, and that was hard sometimes because
Hmm.
I'm like, it's a room, like it's okay. He gonna play around in it, but then you know on Saturday mornings we in there cleaning ceiling fans. I was like, this ain't the life I signed. He didn't ask the right questions in pre-med,
No, I didn't.
but it wasn't. It was just different. Again, having I have been married for a very long time, and Corey is spoiled. Do
Oh,
not do not say when I say spoiled, I don't mean like you got everything you wanted and you was. I'm saying your mom and grandmother and others coddled you a lot, and so as a result of that,
I'm a
that's
G.
where.
Hold on. I'm a G in these streets. All right. Yeah.
And ergo the heart was born. But it was hard because I'm not emotional and stuff in that regard. I get emotional. I have emotional outbursts,
Yeah.
but it wasn't. It's a talk about it, get mad about it, and move on. And it's like 2 weeks later, I'm like, so we still not talking? This what we doing?
Nope.
That was hard too. That was hard. And because he has PTSD, it was hard for me. I used to tell my girlfriend, like, he doesn't have, he lying. He does, this is not PTSD. This is him. He is telling a lie. And so it was that communication
If
was.
anybody works for the VA that's watching this, disregard. I have PTSD.
No,
Uh,
he does. Now, I mean,
yeah.
I'm saying for the, you're not talking to me and holding grudges is not PTSD.
I never said it was.
Okay, I was about to say you're not talking to me because you having like an
That's
episode.
MAD.
So you was MAD,
Yeah, I was MAD.
and so when he was MAD, he didn't talk a whole lot. He didn't say a whole lot to me, and so it was a struggle, y'all, for us to like get past that. That communication, when I tell you, is an essential. It is core, and that's to any relationship. It's
Mhm.
not just the husband and wife relationships. That's the friendships, parent child. It is essential to not only just communicate, but to learn the other's language and be able to speak in a way that they understand, not just, what
Right,
what I wanted.
right.
Is there anything you wanted to add there?
You find in marriage that it's not about you.
Mm.
And I think that was hard for me because it's just been me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was hard. And then, what do you say your marriage should be an example of how God loves us or something to that effect. So just learning that it's not about you and there's a lot of compromising and work. So when you're not used to that, it could be a struggle.
Yeah. That's good. That's really, really good. And that's one of the things that even when we did counseling, you have to go back to number one where the train ran off the track, and the other part is um, forgiving. And this is what I did bring from my previous relationships and marriage and such is that I said forgive, but I didn't actually forgive. And so or if I said I forgive, I often felt like Corey expected immediate return. And sometimes it cut a little bit. So I had to heal. So, I'm gonna forgive you right then, but I gotta still heal from the cut. And so I still had so many cuts that I brought forward that I had not healed, and I was patching band-aid over band-aid in the difference that we had, the arguments that we had, the blowouts that we had. All I was doing was adding band-aids on top of the original scars, and so it was just a lot to be able to step back and be like, oh my gosh, like I got some stuff I need to deal with
Hmm.
that's Sean related or
Right.
whatever, and then I feel like you had your thing that you were struggling with outside of just now having a blended family,
Hmm.
but just that
We both came with baggage
yeah.
and childhood trauma, relationship trauma, all that undiagnosed or whatever that hadn't been dealt with properly.
Hmm.
So
I agree, and I think that um yeah, that's good. That's absolutely true. And so anyway, that was how I would characterize our first 5 to 7 years of these 15 years is like going from broken to healing and then finding out what we look like in this new space together, and then how do we continue to maintain that. And so you take us getting to this good place in our marriage, and then we experience loss, death of family members, and it they were always big bangs. The first I think was Corey's brother, who
mm,
was murdered. Obviously, very unexpected because he was extremely young. But you take that, and then you take me losing my great grandmother, and then here comes some additional Corey's little cousin, and then his uncle Kenneth, and then his cousin Vale, and then dad, and then my grandmother. It was just boom, 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 boom. And so here we are, we're grieving and trying to give each other that space, but then also trying to for me, because I'm a pick up and move on, I struggled with how to show up for you because yours lingered a little while longer. You had more. Mine were big,
mm,
but it I cried about it, and then I felt like I moved on. And when their birthdays and things like that would come about that first year, Corey, you had a really, really, really hard time. Well, Kenneth, Uncle Kenneth, Daddy Brody, and Vale. Like it was really, really hard that first year, and I didn't know how to speak to that, you know. And so, leave you alone, let you have your peace, listening to the music you was in there listening to or whatever. And then, I was like, do I say something? Do I not? And isn't that crazy? Like I'm married to him, and I should know how to speak to him, but that's such a sacred hard place to, you dealing with your memories, the loss, and
mm,
I don't know what the grief process looks like. I know the phases, but I don't know what it looks like when you're going through those phases. And so
mm.
anyway, I feel like that was really hard on us.
Yeah, we got through it though.
Yeah, we got through it. I
It was a
remember,
process.
yeah, I remember um I took um I decided that I was gonna take like a Xanax or something right before my grandmother's funeral. and and y'all, this is the funniest thing. So I had to get, and I took it because I had to speak. And I told, I was telling the APN, I was like, I can't get up there without just like crying. It's my grandmother. I'm her oldest grandchild, and oh, it was just tough. And so we had to. So I get down there. I want to go see the body and all this other stuff. And I don't know if I told you this part. So we go see the body, and it was hard. Like when I tell y'all it's hard, because I had said I'm not gonna take the Xanax. I can push through it. Child, we got to that funeral home, and I saw a body. I don't remember anything else after that. And so the next morning, I was like, yeah, I can't do this. I can't get up and talk and speak from my heart. Like, I wasn't read from paper. I was legit speaking from my heart. And so I was like, I can't do it. And so the funny thing about Xanax is
Mm,
you could feel the emotions and stuff, but I couldn't cry.
mm,
So I went through the funeral, I went through the burial, and y'all, it was like 8 o'clock at night. And I don't know if you remember this. I was in the bedroom, phone on the charger, and my aunt called from my grandmother's house. So when I saw the phone and I picked it up to answer it, it just messed with my head.
mm.
And so when I heard Dee Dee on the phone, I just broke down crying. Like, and he was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I don't know. I guess it just hit me." And he brought me some Kleenex and child and let me have my moment. And we went on. So anyway, we did. We made it work. It was it was different, difficult, and I felt like it was just a new challenge for us, especially after we had worked so hard to get to the place of good that I felt like we were. But there were other things to challenge us. Our parenting challenges, they still exist, y'all.
Mhm.
Like
The
they're
challenge
hard.
is gonna be, they're gonna be,
Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna be a consistent. But getting to the other side of it, you better, or you should be. So that makes it worth it.
Yeah, I
You
agree.
know, like I said the other day, I never was one to fight for a relationship. If things didn't go, it was challenging. I cut left. I let it be. But being with you, and you want to talk through things and work through things, and then they let me see the other side. And like, dang, I've been missing out possibly, or whatever. Or this was God's timing for me to see what I needed to see, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's good. I can appreciate that, babe.
hey,
I
bonus.
yeah. I can appreciate that because you number one, it's hard to admit mistakes in this house. But one of the things, and I'll say this to you,
Mm-hmm,
is it was never about admitting necessarily that you were wrong.
mm-hmm,
I realized two things, or the observations for me and Corey is that Corey needed to be seen, and I needed to be heard. And what that looked like wasn't a necessarily Sean, I was wrong, or D, I was wrong. I go by Sean at home. It was more or less of a, I I had no idea. I hurt you. Like, I always wanted to keep that at the forefront. And so
mm-hmm.
his thing was, I didn't do that. And I'm like, but that's how I perceived it. And so that's
It's a
the
struggle.
it's a constant struggle. And when I said he needed to be seen, um, my crayon box is big, but it wasn't big with a lot of compliments. And so I, as a man, I believe I felt like I wasn't giving him the validation that he needed a lot of times. And so again, going back to my old scars, what I brought with me was I wanted to hide, and Corey wanted to live out loud. And I could not process that. And so we bumped heads a lot in that space. And then I realized, I think listening to a sermon or something on relationships, and I was like, I'm not validating him. I'm not letting him know how I appreciate him, not making the house feel like, hey, I want to come home. And you said that a lot of times. And so it took me a while to process that because I'm like, the house clean, I cooked. What is he talking about? But I get it. I wasn't giving him what? Why did
Oh,
you laugh?
I was laughing at the cooking thing, but
I did cook. I cooked a lot back then. It's these days that I don't cook, but that's a whole new thing. We'll talk about that
episode two.
later. So okay, babe. So
Mm-hmm.
so we talked about what made us jump into the second time around,
Okay.
and just the overall emotional changes, and I would say spiritual changes too. We had to move beyond our mothers and grandparents' faith and relationship with God and develop our own. And again, learning and seeing what we look like through that lens, it just challenged our day to day. And so it was a lot of growing pains. It still is. That
Yeah.
I'll tell anybody, marriage is not easy. Yes, you do have somebody at home, But that doesn't mean every day is going to be like, oh, I'm just loving them. No, we
You
had
might
some
not like
days,
them.
woo, we did not like each other. If he didn't come in the room and he stayed on the computer for a long time, he put his headphones on, I was like, thank you, Jesus. I can get in here and do what I want to do, and he ain't bothering me. Like, and this is the thing, even now though, when we go into our corners, I welcome that time because sometimes I feel like we do need that break from each other just to kind of reset
A
sometimes
period of separation is necessary.
at home in the house together
Yeah,
though.
yeah.
Yeah, clear that up. Not leaving.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not leaving. My bad. Yeah, but I
No.
mean, but sometimes like you know to get out with you.
Oh
You
yeah,
know
yeah,
what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
yeah.
don't disagree with
You
that at
need your
all.
own thing.
Which a little thing right here. My husband is like big on let's go, let's do it. I'm like, why we can't just chill at home? And so yeah, that's a struggle, right? And so I do welcome you when you want to go hang out. I'm like, go, and I'll go hang out. I'm starting to do a little bit more of that
Yeah.
now, right? Yeah. So anyway, so we get through these series of emotional ups and downs, and then experience loss. Of course, the parenting challenge still exists
Mhm.
because while Jonathan is grown, 100% he is me. And it is so difficult to have a relationship with me, walking around outside of me, who acts just like me, who's very strong willed just like me. And I just have to pray about that. And then there's Peyton, who acts like
Today.
and when I tell you the struggle is real, so y'all just pray for us because we're so different in our parenting. I like to talk, explain why. Of course, like I'm not telling anything. I'm the dad. You do what I say do, and I'm having to tell Peyton he keeps getting on to you because look, clean up your room, man. And so it's a lot of that, but it's not. It's actually funny though to see how he comes to me. Like he called me yesterday and he was like, "Hey, I need you to help me talk to Dad. I want to get a new game." I was like, "Do you have the money for it?" He's like, "Yeah, but he still may say no." So anyway, that's a challenge that I feel like we gotta pray
The
and
good
stay
thing, well, I
together.
don't know about the good thing. It might be good, but the stuff I see in Peyton that irritates me are things, flaws that I have.
Mm.
So that's the frustrating part. But at the same time, it makes me look at myself at what I do need to correct
Yep.
or whatever. So it's like looking at a mirror. I'm like something I can't even be mad at them because I be like, I do the same thing.
What? Revelation. Y'all
Next,
just heard it
next
right
question.
here. So let me ask you this.
Okay.
So 15 years,
Mm-hmm.
we come into the relationship with lots and lots and lots of baggage.
Mm-hmm.
How do we continue to work to break the cycle?
Um, just they say keep the ball in play.
Mm-hmm.
Keep communicating and just trying to be better. And you can't give what you don't have. So
Mm.
I have to become a better Corey. You had to become a better Sean so we could come together and you know because if I'm not loving myself or in the right headspace, I can't give you what you need.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's
So
good. That's good. I
yeah.
like that. I think, um, and our backgrounds were so different. I came from a single parent home, so all I've seen is my mom do it. And so, and the women in my family are all strong will, like all of them on both sides of the family. And
I was raised in a crack house on Third Street.
so I'm sure that's a rap lyric. Clear that up because your mom gonna be like, if you got people out here thinking that I'm on crack, that
I
is
didn't
not
live with
good.
my mom.
I know, but well,
Uh,
you whoever that was
nah,
raising
it
you.
was a joke.
Okay, I was about to say because they will not say it came from me. So no, don't point at me.
Mm,
So, but Corey was raised by his dad and stepmom, and so our upbringings were just so different. So we
mm,
really had to we that to me that was a large part of the baggage because yard work, everything, mama made me do it. And so I didn't have patience to wait a lot of times. So Corey said he's gonna wash the truck. I'm like, what time he going to wash it? So I'll wait. You still going to wash the truck? Yeah, I'm going. I'm like, it's getting dark out there. He hadn't moved yet. I was like,
You got why?
and he washes it. And so you did have to tell me this. He said, when I tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. I saw a little meme of a couple sitting on a bench and
Mm-hmm.
they're mad at each other and they're sitting far apart. And but
With
he
the
still put
umbrella.
the umbrella over her. And I always think about that with him because he could be mad at me, but if he said he was going to do it, he's going to go and do it. He may not talk to me while he's doing it, but he's going to still do what he said he would do. And so that was the one thing, especially when we were going through tough times, that was the one thing that he changed. And I was like, you quit doing it. You quit doing it mad. And so I was like, so it's something really wrong now if he quit doing what he said he was going to do mad. And so therapy. Therapy is very necessary.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're not having big problems. Therapy is a must because we needed somebody else to balance those conversations. And
Right.
sometimes we just couldn't hear each other.
Right.
But it's also good, plug to the hard-headed way, the original thought behind having a village. It's good to have a village of couples, of older people around that support your marriage and
Mm-hmm.
will speak life into you guys. And so I feel like that is what we'll have to continue to perpetuate as we try to push through breaking the cycle of what
Mm-hmm.
we've grown up
Yeah.
around. You
Yeah.
agree?
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to belabor the conversation much longer, babe. Like, we've had a little talk for 30 minutes. And y'all, this is actually probably like our fourth or fifth record. I'm surprised that he wasn't like, get it over with.
I'm here
But
to support.
he is. And I want to say to you, 15 years, it has been tough. But I can honestly say that um, where I am today versus where I was 15 years ago, today, I see you and I see you in a way that I wasn't. I was too broken and too focused on myself to even realize a lot of times when you were trying, or a lot of times things that just weren't in your bucket. And
Mm-hmm.
so I see you. I
Mm-hmm.
see you trying. I see you moving out of that old space. And again, our kids bring out, will challenge every fiber in our bodies. And watching the challenges, whether it be through Jonathan or Peyton, is hard, but I see you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I appreciate your try is really good. And so I appreciate that. So, hey,
I appreciate you as well because even though I portrayed, I had this persona of the guy, I still was a little boy trying to figure it out.
mm,
I was swimming in uncharted waters and just trying to look like I knew what I was doing, but didn't have any clue.
mm,
And so I made a bunch of mistakes, but you love me through them. My background and what I was accustomed to and where I come from. So me growing out of that, you gave me a space to do that. We bumped heads a lot, but you never stopped loving me or let me grow. But at the same time, when I was wrong, you let me know I was wrong. And I needed to hear that a lot. So I appreciate you as well.
no. Pastor Pointer said, our kids are blessings, but our spouses are assignment. And so it has been a tough assignment, but I'm glad we made it this far.
Yeah, it's only gonna get better through each challenge, through each bump in the road. We're gonna be the 80-year-olds, 100-year-olds laughing at the old folks home because I know none of our boys gonna take care of us.
Yeah, we got to get our.
Yeah,
We
so
working on paperwork right now because I know nobody is coming up there to check on us 100%.
Peyton playing Call of Duty, they all right. Yeah.
So yeah, so happy anniversary
Happy anniversary, baby.
and to many more.
Many more.
Thank you guys. As I continue this journey into my second season, I'll be doing videos, my audio podcast. Some will be on Zoom, some of them will be in person. And I'm going to try all over the house. I'm determined not to buy anything. And I'm going to try this setup in different places in the house. So you may not see you may see a background the next time I record, you may not. It may be a black, red wall. It may be white blinds. I don't know. So it'll change. But I appreciate you guys' support and your listening.
Can I say something?
Absolutely.
If you personally know my wife and you see her out, encourage her. Let her know everything doesn't have to be perfect. Just do it. Give yourself a place to grow. You don't have to start at 100. Just do the thing.
I received that.
Okay.
I received that, babe. Thank you for joining me today.
That's it. What I get.
So anyway, all right, y'all. Thank you.
Peace.